I used to think like J.K. Rowling's when it came to trans women. I mean, how could a person who lived all their lives as a man in a man's body, experiencing the cultural and social privilege of men and the patriarchy, possibly understand what it means to be a woman? Was this just another violation of women's spaces by men who assume that all social spheres are theirs to encroach on and live within, without ever truly understanding what it means to live in a woman's body and carry it in the world? Do trans women understand or comprehend how women have to assume that many spheres of society are unsafe for them? How can they know what we as females have struggled with all our lives? We've lived with puberty in a girl's body, which goes from being ours to being under the scrutiny of predators, critics, and even ourselves. How can any man supersede these facts by simply putting on a dress and makeup? To me, these issues encapsulated the female experience, and I was firm in my opinion that trans women were simply indulging an urge to be perceived in a different way by society, to expand their feminine side from the internal to the external. My sense was that they were cheating their way into womanhood, in their never having dealt with, say, menstruation, unwanted attention, assumptions of inferiority, and moving into a female experience after all the truly hard parts were done. And all they needed to worry about now was elective hormone therapies and lipstick shades. But then my son came out as trans. I realised that most of the issues I dealt with as a girl, teenager and woman were shared with her. Anxieties about her body, confusion about social and gender politics and the influence of these on her thinking and her actions, her desperate attempts to ignore or destroy feelings of and suspicions about her authentic self in the effort to please others and express herself in every way as the person she was expected to be as a male. I began to understand that while having periods and being self-conscious about boobs are relevant to females, there are emotional and physical parallels for a person born into the wrong body. Dysmorphia, anxiety, self-hate, a desire to change things and desperation about things the body does no matter how hard we want or don't want it to. She didn't want to be born a male, but as the truth about her gender identity became apparent to her, only mortification could describe her realisation she'd been truly born a female. And I realised that my child, born as a girl in a boy's body, didn't need to have dealt with periods or the unwanted gaze of predatory men to experience the practically universal struggles that females come to understand in this society. For her, suppressing her femininity hasn't shielded her from the psychological, emotional, and mental experience of a female identity, suppressed as it had been for 24 years. My daughter has always been my daughter, I just didn't know it, but when she had a total breakdown and we as her parents provided a safe space to heal, she was able to come out, born again, with all the implications that come with that. To begin to understand what a woman intrinsically is has helped me understand myself better as well. It's helping me grow as a mother and as a person, this greater appreciation of womanhood and how its experience isn't exclusive to those with female bodies. I now know that trans people do not choose this. It's not a campaign for attention or joining a trend. And to say this is to minimise the life-altering consequences of coming out. It's not a lifestyle choice like moving to the country or getting a better paying job. It's allowing deadness to fall away and life to begin. In fact, we all transition or ought to and want to. We ought to want to be more authentic, less inhibited in our truth, more empathic, more accepting of ourselves and others. So I ask you, are you transitioning? Are your beliefs, politics, perhaps even your revulsion, lack of empathy standing in the way of those with the immense courage who can't stop now they've begun? You decide.